All right, so I will continue. And today I will go to class equation. So, but before I go to class equation, I also give you one example of a group action, which we have been studying since I don't know when it started, maybe since school days. But we were working it out, but we were not very cautious about it, what it is. So, and I want to raise that, and also we will have tutorial tomorrow. So this, if you need further explanation on this, we can continue on tomorrow. So what I want to show you the following. So, but before this, I will write it here. So, okay, I will show you this directly. Can you see this? Can you read it or is it too small?
Yeah, it is fine.
It's okay. It's okay.
I can make it slightly bigger still. Now?
Yeah. It's okay.
All right. Now this I called it a supplement. Eventually, I want to also bring in geometry after some time, after when we have more vocabulary in mathematics as well as more examples. Now, this is a simple example. I want to introduce a concept of affine spaces. And then, so in this, let us read it. See, a parallel shifting or a translation of the space E. When you say of the space E, that is the space we live in. Sorry? Somebody's mic. Hello? Hello? Either you put off your mic or you ask me what you want. All right, so the translation of the space E, when I wrote here the space E, that is the space we live in. Three-dimensional Euclidean space if you want. All right, that's a bijective map. From the one point goes to the other point. And that bijective map I am writing X. X is a map from the points to the points. So here P is the point and that has gone to this point Q. P prime is a point. Where will it go? I have translated it. So I have to form a parallelogram and look at this one. That Q prime will be the image of P prime. And then how are you using this? Whenever we drew a picture, we drew like this. Whenever you drew PQ and over that arrow, that was a vector. That was a vector. So that X was denoted like that. So we started writing pictures like this. And then we constructed something. So first of all, so therefore, with this we got an operation on real numbers. And then.
Hello, sir. Your screen is not shared, I think. Sir.
Sorry?
Your screen is not shared.
It is there. It is there.
I'm seeing it.
Yeah. It is there.
Yeah, it is there, but I think his problem is genuine. Sometimes it happens, like it happened to me yesterday, but I don't know why, but it happens. I mean, sir shares his screen, but some people are not able to see sometimes.
Network issue.
Shall I continue?
Yes.
All right. So I will not read these pages. This page, the page one as it is. I think you read it, but I directly want to go to the definition. This definition is motivated by whatever I wrote earlier. Essentially, whatever you have learned in a school, if not in the school, in the first year of college, where you wrote vectors, parallelogram laws, and constructed parallel lines, and so on. So that explanation is there above, but this that discussion had led to this following definition. Now look at the definition. V is a vector space over K, that everybody knows. K is arbitrary field, not necessarily real numbers. Non-empty set E together with the operation of whom? Of V plus vector space, therefore it's an abelian group, no? So additive operation, that's what it means. So it should be a map from V cross E to E. What is that map? X comma P goes to X plus P. And this satisfies obviously 1, 2, 3 properties. What are 1, 2, 3 properties are these? The 0 plus P is P, X plus Y plus P is X plus Y plus P, and then for each pair PQ there is a unique vector X in V such that X plus P is Q. This definition precisely means what is an affine space? So I will now write in my lecture here. So affine space affine space over a vector space over a K vector space. Let me write it. This term I am defining. So V the vector space we have given. So therefore V plus is an abelian group. And this group, so it is a set E is a set E where V plus is operating. So that means E is a set along with this map V cross E to E. And this map is just denoted by X comma P going to X plus P. And the notation plus is used because this notation, group notation is plus. And what should it satisfy? If you see our definition of group operation, see what should it satisfy? 1 and 2. So first of all, this notation, that is that plus, and then it should satisfy 2 conditions. 1, 0 plus P equal to P for every P in. And second, that if I take any Y plus P, this is another point in E, and then add X to that. On the other hand, I could get X plus Y. This is X plus Y is in V and plus P. That is precisely the second condition. So what is an affine space? For to talk about affine space, you need a vector space, and the additive group of that vector space is operating on the set E. So E together with this operation is called an affine space over V. All right, and the third condition which I said here, that is more additional property that you will see, that is precisely what will be the transitivity. I have not yet defined transitivity, but that is it. And this example is very, very important. For example, if you would have studied system of linear equations, the solution space of this system of linear equation is not a subspace, but it is an affine subspace. All right, so more on this we will elaborate maybe in tutorial or after some time when we have enough vocabulary with us. Right now we don't have enough vocabulary. All right. So before I go on, I should have marked this definition is due to Hermann Weyl. This was around 1854 that he made this definition. For I have given a reference here. See here, Weyl Hermann. Can you read it? Round side.
Yes, yes.
This book. This is the 8th edition. So originally it was written in 1918. So this is where this book is. Physics people, for them it is very important because it is talked about theory of relativity and so on. All right, so that was, we will come back to this more. Also, this group action subject actually started very systematically by Felix Klein in 1872. There was a famous program, Erlanger program. There he proposed to the researchers that group action study is initiated in various fields, but he did it with view in mind that many geometries can be studied together. That was more on that I will not say right now. But before that, before Hermann Weyl, already Cayley's work already have some examples, but they were not very prominently mentioned as group actions. Of course, before that also, if you go back, as I said yesterday, that Lagrange, Galois, Cauchy, all of them knew it, but they were not, those days it was not systematic study and the notation was also not there. And so they were studying what are called Galois groups. That also I will mention it some other time. All right, so we will continue with this. Anybody has a question, still ask. All right, before I go on, or maybe I should now recall what we did last time. So remember what we did last time was I kept saying let G be a group. And let X be a G set. That means there is an operation of G on X. So this term you can think either a map X cross G to G, or equivalently you can think a group homomorphism from G to Sx. Once you say group homomorphism, then you don't have to write any extra condition. But here operation maps and you have to say 1 and 2 are satisfied with 1 and 2. That is, 1 is E times X is X, small x equal to X for every X, and 2 is compatibility. That is G prime X is same as G prime X. And don't write blindly. Remember that this is in G. This is all the group operation in G, and this is what we have defined here. That is X comma G, and the image you are denoting by Gx. Oh, this is X. So better to think this, but sometimes it is convenient to do this also. So it depends on what you want to do it. So these are bijections. These are bijection means every such map, if you call this map as H, then this will give this theta. So H and theta, this is the bijection from the set of operations to the set of group homomorphisms. That is what we did last time, essentially. And we gave two examples. One is a conjugation operation, and there is a left regular or Kelly operation. That is what we did last time. See here, this one is a Kelly operation, and this one is a conjugation operation, and this one is linear algebra. That is general linear group of a vector space operates on the endomorphisms by conjugation. So this is a particular case of a conjugation in some sense. All right. Now another example I will, before I give examples, I should now build up some vocabulary. Otherwise we are not reaching anywhere. All right. So given a group and a G set, we have defined two things. One is the orbit of X. When there are more groups involved, right now G is fixed, so I will not bother too much about the notation. Orbit of this is denoted usually by G times X. This is very suggestive. They are all G multiples of X. So these are all G times X, where G is valid. And I don't want to assume G is finite or X is finite. Whenever I need that assumption, I will put that assumption, or I will write it explicitly. So, and then we have defined stabilizer at X. This is, I have denoted G suffix X. This is by definition. This is also definition. All those G's which fix the G X. That means Gx is X. This is obviously subset of X, and this is obviously subset of G. And what did we remark? This is a subgroup of G.
May I ask something, please?
Sure.
So, yeah, in yesterday's class, you said that there's a reason behind the name of stabilizer. Yeah, it's stabilizing elements. Is there a nice reason why you have orbit? I have an image of a planet moving. But
This comes from the physics.
Okay.
It stabilizes. Now, more than that, why I don't want to discuss in this class, because
No, I was talking about orbit.
Orbit is because it moves, no? See, wait for more examples, you will see why it is called an orbit.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and what was the relation between them? We did it last time. That was orbit stabilizer theorem. This was Lagrange in 1770. But of course, he didn't write in this language. That example also I will discuss sometime. All right, so what was that? That says that cardinality of the orbit equal to the index of the stabilizer. This is the index, and by definition, index is what? It's a cardinality of the number of left cosets. So cardinality of this set, and what is this set? This set is by definition set of left cosets. Left cosets of Gx in G. That set doesn't have structure. And how did we prove this? I will again prove it. But now I will be sorry.
So there should be gx, not g suffix x on
Sorry?
left side.
Oh, this is GX, sorry. Good. This is X. That's what you meant, no? The
Yes.
cardinality of the orbit equal to index of the stabilizer. That is why it is called orbit stabilizer theorem. And how is it proved? See, so again, if you want a proof, I am writing the proof again. So we have only given X and the group operation. So I define, look at the map. F suffix X. This is a map from G to orbit. What is the map? Obvious. Any G is going to GX. What kind of a map is this? Is clearly surjective. And what are the fibers of this map? Fibers of Fx. That means Fx inverse image of Gx. That you check. This I will say check. That is what I checked yesterday. And now a small thinking for you. I will write here. If I have a set X and set Y, and suppose I have a map F, so that this map is surjective. That is we have. And also it has additional property that each fiber over Y, it's non-empty because it's surjective. Each fiber over Y has the same cardinality. So cardinality of this same. Then I say you can write down what is the cardinality of X. Then cardinality of X will be equal to cardinality, common cardinality of that fiber times. This is a very simple set theory. Alright, so more than that, not needed. But this equation I want to also write in the way, this one, I want to rewrite it. This one is equivalent to cardinality G equal to cardinality of the orbit times cardinality of the stabilizer. All right. So that is in particular. So in particular, we know. I take the different color. In particular, cardinality of the orbit will always divide cardinality of the group when it is finite. When this is when you are talking division, so if G is finite. All right, now one more example I want to discuss now, or before I discuss, I want to first, as I said, class equation. Now we have seen that this defines, this group operation defines an equivalence relation, and I want to write G on the left side because we are assuming G operates from the left. And what was the definition? You say that X is related to this under this tilde G, if and only if is the definition. Y equal to Gx for some G. So you would have checked, I suppose, it is an equivalence relation. The tilde on the left G is an equivalence relation. And the equivalence class of X is under this relation is precisely the orbit of G, orbit of X, small x. And so what does equivalence relation do on a set? It gives a partition. And then you have a quotient set. So the quotient set, so the partition is this. This is the partition. Orbits, X is varying. This is the partition of X. And we don't write repeat one. We don't, the orbit may be same for two elements, but then we write only one. But this will create a problem in our writing many times, how to write it. So this is a quotient set, and this quotient set I want to denote by X modulo G. And this slash, because I want to remember that G is operating from left. So this is a quotient set of the operation of G on X. Is that clear? So far, anybody has difficulty, please ask me, because it will get involved after some time now. And don't hesitate to ask. If you don't know, you say that you don't know. But please ask concise questions. Anybody has a difficult? Anybody want to ask anything, or shall I go on? And I want the participation. I don't like monologue. So please ask if you have doubt. All right. Or I will ask you by name after some time. All right, so we have this situation. Then what do we do with this partition? Because we know that X is broken into small pieces, that X is a disjoint union. That is the meaning of partition of these orbits. And where is this varying? The Gx is varying to Z. Now I don't have to explain, because when you wrote that means you are only looking at the distinct orbits and they don't intersect. All right. So what happened to the cardinality then? So I want to analyze when the orbit is singleton. So when exactly the orbit Gx is singleton. Singleton, then it has to be, the only possibility is singleton X, because X belongs to that orbit. So that is if and only if Gx equal to X for every G. That means this X is fixed under every G. So that is if and only if X belong to fix Gx. And what should be this then? This should be by definition all those elements X in X such that g of x equal to x for every g. That is the fix. I will write on the next page again. So fixed gx, this is precisely all those elements x in G such that gx equal to x for every G in G, fixed under every G. So I could have, yes.
So in this definition, you mean x belongs to G or x belongs to x?
No, x belong to x, sorry. Thank you. So we could have also defined fix small gx, given a G in G, we could have also defined this set. This is precisely all those x in X which are fixed only under this G. And then sometimes it is, then this whole fix, this will be the intersection of fix G in G. This intersection is varying over G. Is it clear? All right, now this disjoint union I am going to split in two parts. One or the orbits which are never empty. The one which are singletons and the one which are more than one element. So therefore, and this first of all, this will tell you the cardinality of x equal to summation cardinality of the orbit. And this is varying in, orbit is varying in the quotient set. So in this sum now I want to separate it out, which are the singleton and which are the more than singleton. So therefore this formula will improve and we will get a formula cardinality of x equal to, and how many of them are singletons? As many as them are the fixed points. So so therefore this cardinality will be equal to cardinality of the fixed points plus summation cardinalities of the orbits. And then I should write, first of all, gx should vary in the orbit quotient set. And in addition, also I should write gx is not singleton. So that is same thing as saying gx is not singleton x. Now you see, note this writing will make things very precise. One doesn't have to ask what is what. So this is called the class equation. This is called the class equation of the operation of G on X. This is very important equation. And okay, now one might ask, why does it called a class equation? Because it involves the classes, equivalence classes. That was probably the reason. All right, and this one, of course, when I wrote this equation, one assumed that it is a finite set. But one doesn't have to assume that it is a finite set if you properly know set theories and cardinality correctly. So I will not go into that. So whenever you have trouble, you assume finite. But it is not really necessary. For example, in this proof, I never said somebody is finite. This is surjective map, and then we have surjective map, then this, and what should be the cardinality of the product means? That should mean cardinality of the Cartesian product. Those basic things probably you have learned in your basic set theory, and time to time you improve that set theory. Set theory is one doesn't teach, it is one picks up on the way. All right, we cannot live without set theory because it's a medium of instruction for mathematics. All right, so that is a class equation. Now I will give several examples of the class equations. How do you compute the class equation in many examples, and those I call them examples, but they are really, you might have learned them as the theorems. I will take different actions, different group actions or different group operations on different sets, and then we will find out what is this equation. So that is like finding out the equation, class equation. But before I do that, I have to also build up little bit. I want to use the definitions. So I want to recall the definitions. Not recall, I want to formally put it because we will have to study these definitions sooner or later. So these are many definitions. Definition. So always I will just say let X be a G set. And G is, that means a group. I'm not assuming finite. All right, so 1, we say that G operates transitively, or the operation transitively on X. This is what I'm defining. If, first of all, X should be non-empty, and there is exactly one orbit. One orbit. What does that mean? So that is the quotient set. Exactly 1. And what can that be then? Is only one orbit. That means the orbit is only capital X. All right, we will see examples. That means what? That means for every X in X, the orbit of the small x has no choice, but it is capital X. Or equivalently, X is related to Y under this equivalence relation for every Y in G, Y in X. That is true for every X and Y. So let me write it a little bit so that for every X, Y in G. So that is the whole equivalence relation. That is transitive. We will see examples soon. Let me first finish the list of definitions. Also, we can write this is equivalent to saying there for every X, for every pair X and Y in X, there exists G in G such that Y equal to Gx. So these are just equivalent way of writing things. All right. Now second definition. G operates simply transitive. Simply transitively. On X, if it is transitive, if G operates transitively. And isotropy at 1, isotropy at any x is trivial for every x. But you see, this also you can improve instead of saying for every x, because transitive will tell you what. So first of all, we know the relation between. So recall, I should have written earlier. I don't know whether I've written earlier. All right, I will write it here. So note that this I should have noted before. Note that suppose y is in the orbit of x. That is y equal to gx for some g in G. Then we can also talk about isotropy. I will keep saying isotropy or stabilizer. That one and the same thing. So Gy is Gx. What is the relation between this isotropy and the isotropy at x? So I want to write the relation between G suffix x and G suffix x. So this will be the conjugate. So this is a conjugate subgroup. Let us check quickly. Subgroup of Gx in G. So I want to check this equality. So let us check. So when will somebody belong here, that we will write, and that should belong to the left side, and conversely. So H, let H be in G. Then H belong to isotropy at Gx. That is by definition what? It fixes this. So Hgx equal to Gx. I want to rewrite this equation by using the property of the operation. I will multiply this equation H inverse from this side. So what do we get? Or what is, okay, so this is equivalent to saying, first I will multiply, no, G inverse I will multiply on both sides. So G inverse Hg x, these belong to x. And I'll put a bracket here. This is allowed because of property 1 and 2. And this is equivalent to saying G inverse Hg belong to Gx. But this is equivalent to saying H belong to Gx, G inverse. So it's only one line proof. All right. So the proofs are not difficult if you are very clear of the notation and of the definitions. All right. So that we have proved that when two elements in the same orbit, how the stabilizers or isotropies are related, they vary in their conjugacy classes of the groups, subgroups. All right. Now coming back here, simply transitively. So G operates simply transitively. So first we need, I will write like this, transitive. First operation is transitive. And what? Isotropy at one element is trivial. That means it's only the identity. So identity is 1 for us, for some x. You see, here I have written for every, but it's enough for 1, for some. Because if for 1 it is trivial, then the other element in the orbit will be just a conjugate subgroup, and conjugate subgroup of trivial subgroup is trivial. So you have lesser checking for simply transitive. All right, now third definition. There are 2 more definitions and then we will, or only 1 more. All right, so third definition. So G operates, and then we'll see lots of examples. Freely on X if all stabilizers are trivial. All stabilizers Gx are trivial. All. That means for every x in X, stabilizer is trivial. But now we cannot conclude like this because we don't have transitivity. See, transitivity is not there in the part of the definition. All right. So that is a free action. Now, in this case, that I will say it later. But now let us see more examples of all this. So lots of examples we will see. All right. So some examples I will check, some I will not check. All right. So we take first our example. What is the example? Cayley operation. So that I am denoting by capital L. This is, so G is operating on G by
Hello.
left multiplication. Yes, please.
Sir, I have a doubt. Like G is simply transitive means it is transitive plus
It is transitive and
its stabilizer is trivial for all x, right? I mean, it is,
yes.
It is enough if for some x.
Yes.
Also, and then G operates freely on x if all stabilizers are
Trivial.
So the difference is only for transitivity part, right?
Of course, but that makes a difference.
When
Because because in the orbit how the stabilizers are related, that we saw.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Transitivity means there is only one orbit. All right. So I will not write down, but let us look at the Cayley operation. G is operating on G itself, right? Now I am writing an action homomorphism. So what is that? G is mapped onto LG, and LG is a translation by G. So it's a map from G to G, where any x goes to Gx. First of all, note that this map is bijective. So this map indeed makes a sense. This is a bijective map. And secondly, you note that this is a group homomorphism. This is a group homomorphism. Third thing, you note that this is injective. So that was Cayley who proved that every group is a subgroup of some permutation group. So it sits inside this. And now I will say you find out what are the orbits. You want to find out what are the orbits?
I think this will contain just one element. So
Sorry,
probably the element, the orbit will be just one element.
why? Why?
Orbit of what were you asking? Orbit of?
What are the orbits I am asking?
Okay.
What are the orbits? So suppose I take, now see here the confusion will arise because X is, what is X? X is also G and G is group is also G. So let us write it that G is a group here and X that is also G. And you want to write the orbit, right? So you take small x in X. And then what is G orbit this? These are all G multiples of X. So this is G times X. And what is varying? G is varying. Now can you not tell me what is this?
G.
This is G, very good. And this is true for every X. And there is only one orbit.
It's transitive.
Transitive, very good. What is the class equation? Go back to the class equation. What is the class equation? Cardinality of X, that is cardinality of G. There is only one orbit. There is no question of singleton and all that. And that orbit also has as many elements as G. So the class equation is nothing. This is just cardinality G equal to cardinality G. Nothing. It doesn't come out anything. This is the class equation. But what is important is Cayley wanted to prove that every group G is a subgroup of a permutation group. And that is what the proof was. But now you see here, this is too big group. S of G is very big. It's a permutation group on G. One would like to get smaller permutation group. I mean the cardinality wise. Then only it will be optimal. All right. So that is a different issue. Now second, conjugation action. Conjugation action of G and on G only. X is also G. And what is the action homomorphism? That is from G to S of G. What is the map? G is going to kappa G. Kappa G is a map from G to G. It maps X to its conjugation, G, X, G inverse. And we have to check it is bijective. Then only it will belong here. And in this case also it so happens it is a group homomorphism. No big deal. For action homomorphism is always a group homomorphism. And it is more actually this conjugation by G is not only bijective map, but actually it is an automorphism. So actually this action homomorphism goes like this. G going to odd G, which is contained in S of G. And remember, this is a subgroup actually. This inclusion is actually a subgroup. And not only automorphisms, but inner automorphisms. Inner automorphism. This is the map kappa. G going to kappa. Now, what are the orbits? Again, let us find out. Again, because the same this, so you should use the notation small x in X, which is G. Then what is the orbit of X? This is all those Gx. Now what is Gx? Gx is by definition kappa G of X, which is Gx G inverse. Remember the writing. This is operation in G, and this is where you use the binary operations in G. Even though it is set X, it has an extra structure that is used this, and this is what operation G operates on that X. Small g operates on it. So this and what is varying? G is varying. So G in G. So this is the orbit. So this is precisely what? This is precisely what is called that conjugacy class of X. This is C, G, X. This is the conjugacy class of small x in G. When is it trivial? Trivial means singleton. When will the conjugacy class? This is orbit.
If G is abelian.
No, I
Center.
have fixed x. X is fixed. When is this singleton? If and only if?
So if is in the center of group.
Very good. So that means this x belong to the center of the group. Those who have, so write more steps. So this is singleton if and only if G x G inverse equal to x for every G in G. This is equivalent to saying Gx equal to xg for every G in G. That is precisely the definition of a center. So that is if and only if this x belongs to it commutes with every G, therefore it is in the center. So therefore what equation do you get? Class equation. What class equation do we get then? Cardinality of G. This is x. So we write the cardinality of x. That is G. That is equal to
Cardinality of center.
Cardinality of the center plus the cardinality of the conjugacy classes
Which are not singletons.
which are not singleton. This is the class equation. All right, now some more examples. The more the example you see, the more you will have understanding. All right, now the next question is, also I should have defined here, I forgot, I should have defined fourth one. Shall I add it here? Fourth one. We say G operates faithfully if kernel of theta is trivial. That is the action homomorphism theta, which is from G to S of G, is injected. That is the case in our example this first or second, that is the case. All right, in this case it is faithful, in this case also it is faithful. So faithful. In this case it is transitive, in this case it may not be transitive. But here we got, so that is how we will understand now whether the center is trivial or not. We will deduce many consequences from this example. All right, but before I do that, some more examples I want, because that is how we create understanding. So fourth one. Suppose X is a G set. Then I will use this to construct different G set. Now look at the power set of X. Power set. Set of all subsets, that is Px. And then I want to define a operation of G on power set by using the operation of G on X. This is given to us. So define operation of G on the power set of X by, I have to give you the operation map and check that it satisfies property 1 and property 2. So what is that? So I should give you a map from power set of X, G cross power set of X to the power set of X. So I should tell you where G comma some subset Y goes. So Y is a subset of X. So where does it go? It goes to G times Y. And G times Y is defined. What is the by definition G times Y? This is all those small g multiples of elements from Y. Already we have given this because we have given X is a G set and Y is a subset there. So this makes sense. And this is clearly a subset of X. Therefore, it belongs here. So therefore, it defines this map. Now I have to check 1 and 2. What is 1? 1 is if I take G is identity Y. Where does it go? What this goes to 1 times Y. But this is all G 1 times small y. But 1 times small y is Y because G is operating on X. So this is Y such that Y is in Y. But this is same thing as Y. So 1 is satisfied. Second, if I have G prime Y and then suppose I multiply it by G, then what happens? So this is G times which set? G times this set. All G prime multiples of Y. You see the definition? So this is G prime times Y. Y is varying. And now I want to multiply G. So I should take it inside for every. So this is equal to G prime Y, where Y is varying. But because this X is a G set, property 2 satisfies there. Therefore, this is nothing but G prime. I can put the bracket anywhere like and Y. So therefore, this is equal to, so already wrote G prime times Y. So the property 2 is also satisfied. Therefore, this is a new operation. Now, note following with this operation. I want to compute stabilizers. I want to compute class equation and so on. Orbits we know. All right. So first of all, note the following. If I take any subset Y in the power set, the cardinality of GY is also same as cardinality of Y. Can you tell me the reason? Can anybody tell me the reason? If you don't talk, I will ask by name.
Maybe Because GYs are left.
Let us assume X is finite set. Let us assume X is finite set. Then,
So because G is just translating the elements of Y.
yes.
I think
So,
like any two elements are same.
you are correct. Don't leave it halfway. Yes, what happened? Who was talking?
So Sonakshi.
Just set up a bijection between these two. by
Why is
sending-
bijective? Why? Which map is bijective? We want to show that the cardinalities are equal. So, which map is bijective?
Yes, I'm telling you the map. Say from the left side.
Between Y and GY. What is the map?
Yeah. So small y maps to GY.
Yes.
And the inverse map is Z maps to G inverse Z.
Very good. So you see, G the group is very important. Then only this makes sense. If instead of G, it was only natural numbers with addition, then it will not work.
Can we say like
Right?
this also?
Sorry?
Can I say like if I take any two, if I take two elements of Gen, if I say they are same.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? You want to give a bijective map now?
No, sir. I wanted to say that there are as many number of elements as in Y.
Why?
GY.
Why? The what you are saying is there is a bijective map. That is more precise, no?
Yes, sir.
Now, for example, if I say there are as many natural numbers as there are integers, then what do you have to prove?
Bijection is enough, sir. More precise, yes, sir.
Not enough. That is the statement. There is no other way. Suppose I say as many integers are there, as many real numbers are there. Is it correct?
No, sir. If it is finite, we can say like this. But if it is infinite, bijection is the.
No. No. Answer my question. If I say there are as many integers, there are as many real numbers. Is it a correct statement?
No.
But if I say there are as many integers, are there as many rational numbers, then is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, but it needs a proof. And this belongs to set theory. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when you say there is a bijection from one to the other, there is nothing more you can, that is saying their cardinalities are equal.
Yes, sir.
All right. And this is what he has given a bijective map. And therefore, this equality makes sense.
Okay, sir.
All right. Now you complete this example. In the next class or tutorial class, we will discuss complete this example. That means find the orbits, find the stabilizers, and find the class equation. All right, and be prepared. See, and I have noticed that you are not talking, and even if somebody is talking, they are talking very loosely. See, the whole idea of this program, I think JKV is there, no? Whole idea of this program is we want to prepare students so that they work for a good PhDs, no matter what subject is it, what they are working in. So that means we want to lay down foundations very, very strong way. And whether we succeed or not, you will tell us. All right, so I will send this immediately. Purnashri there, no? Purnashri, I will send this PDF file immediately.
Yes.
I will
Yes,
send
sir, I'm
this PDF
here.
file immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, I've sent it, and tomorrow we'll have tutorial. So, Purnashri, did you upload the exercise sheets? Hello?
Yes, hello. Hello.
Hello, yes, tell me, did you upload?
I am doing that.
Please do that. And this, then I will talk to you later.
Yes, yes.
All right, so I'll meet you tomorrow. Anybody has a doubt, you still have 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to ask, otherwise I will go.